In 1796, large-scale outbreaks of smallpox threatened northern and central England, causing millions of innocent people to die. Those who survived were left permanently scarred. Dr. Edward Jenner discovered that people infected with a milder disease, cowpox, gotten from milking infected cows, became immune to smallpox, thus the invention of the smallpox vaccine. This invention marked a turning point in history, not only because it led to the eradication of smallpox, but because even centuries later, vaccines are still saving lives every day. Smallpox is believed to have originated around 10,000 BC, with early evidence of skin lesions resembling smallpox on the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Ramses V. Between the 15th and 17th centuries, smallpox worked its way over to Europe, where, in the 18th century, it killed over 400,000 people. Nearly a third of those lucky enough to survive went blind and had disfiguring scars. The speckled monster, as it was often referred to in 18th century England, had a fatality rate ranging from 20 to 60%. For infants, the rate was nearly 80% in England and close to 98% in Germany. Its official name, smallpox, originated in England and was used to distinguish the disease from syphilis, which was called greatpox at the time. In medieval days, medical treatment was based primarily on folklore and involved anything from herbs and ointments to reducing the patient's body temperature by opening windows. It was largely ineffective, and the only means of preventative medicine was inoculation. Inoculation essentially just involves intentionally exposing healthy, unexposed people to the disease. The fortunate people who recovered were unlikely to get the disease again. After Lady Mary Wortley Montagu got the disease and experienced disfiguration of her once beautiful face, she got her 4-year-old daughter inoculated in the presence of scientists of the royal court. It was a skeptical, desperate attempt to prevent her from getting the disease, and to the surprise of everyone involved, it worked. The process almost immediately gained public acceptance in the area, despite the dismal survival rate. Soon, everyone was getting inoculated with smallpox. In 1757, an 8-year-old was inoculated in Gloucester, England. This boy was Edward Jenner. Jenner was born on May 17, 1749, and was orphaned to live with his brother at age 5. By 1764, he had gained a grand knowledge of science and medical practices. In 1796, Jenner heard a dairymaid, one of the women who milked cows, say, "I shall never have smallpox, for I have had cowpox. I shall never have an ugly, pock-marked face." That's when he discovered that exposure to cowpox, a less severe disease, was cross-protective against smallpox. Edward Jenner used this to his advantage, and in May 1796, he found a young dairymaid, Sarah Nelms, with fresh cowpox ulcers on her hand. He gathered fluid from a sore on Nelms' hand and administered it to 8-year-old James Phipps, a boy who had never had smallpox. This was the first vaccine. A couple of days later, Jenner attempted to infect the boy with smallpox, and no disease developed. As well as child labor, experimentation on children at the time wasn't considered immoral. Nowadays, children are considered a protected group. Jenner then went to England to find volunteers to be vaccinated, but after 3 months, he found 0. Inoculation was a popular practice, but vaccination, derived from the Latin word for cowpox, vaccinia, was not. Dr. John Haygarth received the vaccine from Edward Jenner and gave it to Benjamin Waterhouse, a physics professor from Harvard. Benjamin brought it to New England and convinced Thomas Jefferson to try it. Jenner received amazing support from Jefferson, who then appointed Waterhouse as a vaccine agent in the National Vaccine Institute, an organization created to start a vaccination program nationwide. Even though Jenner received worldwide recognition and countless awards and honors, he ended up devoting so much time to the cause of vaccination that his personal life suffered. He lived the rest of his life inside the Chantry House, which became the Jenner Museum in 1985. In the backyard of this property, Jenner built a small, one-room hut which he called the Temple of Vaccinia, where he vaccinated the poor for free. Jenner's contribution to modern science is invaluable, and scientists are still working hard to find faster, more efficient ways to produce and deliver vaccines. The recent COVID vaccine was based on a whole new type of vaccine mechanism. Many of the diseases that existed in Jenner's day have been all but eradicated by achieving herd immunity, the point where enough people are vaccinated in a population to stop the virus entirely. Unfortunately, just like in Jenner's day, there are also still skeptics who fear vaccination because they don't understand it. Recently in Ohio, there was a measles outbreak based almost solely on a pocket of vaccine skeptics who chose not to have their children vaccinated. Jenner's discovery changed the world and will continue to protect us for generations, as long as we're willing to accept that protection.